Story 9, transport. How did stuff get here and what's the transport of the future? We're starting in the early industrial revolution, at least early for our area. In 1800, there was plenty of industry in Manchester beginning to take energy from the coal mines and to use that to power cotton mills. Those are Mersey flats, the boats, the transport of the past, and there's an image of transport of the future. Hydrogen-powered public transport for Liverpool city region. So, back to our start. With the Sankey Canal, the world's oldest industrial canal, which opened in 1757. Oh, at the very, very beginning of the Industrial Revolution, to be a better way of moving coal than along the terrible roads. Apparently, Halton area, the roads were just awful. The Sankey Canal runs from the coalfield of St Helens to its end just by Catalyst in Widnes. The stories of the navvies who dug the canals might be interesting. The people designing the canals had to develop new skills to recognise the geology of the land and work out the best routes for the canals, surveying all sorts of things, where to dig. That's a view of the Sankey Canal from Catalyst with a historic Widnes dock just there and clearly visible, the world's oldest railway to ship dock. The Bridgewater Canal followed the Sankey Canal just a few years later in 1761, the world's second oldest industrial canal, much longer than the Sankey, and its job was to get coal from the Duke of Bridgewater's mines at Worsley. Soap factories grew up alongside it in Runcorn, and at that time the town was still small and a resort. The canals brought wealthy tourists from Manchester, as well as carrying goods, soap and leather, for instance, away. And then the LeBlanc industry arrived. What did it need? Well, let's have a look. Where did it come from? It needed salt, sulfuric acid, coal, and limestone. Let's put those on a map. Salt came from Northwich and Winsford. Coal came to Widnes along the Sankey Canal, and coal came from Worsley along the Bridgewater Canal. Limestone came to Widnes from North Wales, maybe to Runcorn as well, from Halton mine quarry, and limestone came from the Peak District along the Peak Forest Canal and the Bridgewater Canal. The salt mines of Cheshire could be brought from the mines via the Weaver navigation. Sodium and chlorine. The navigation was a project from the 1720s to make the river deep enough for barges to sail and to collect the salt from near to the workings, again to save it from having to go on horses along the terrible roads. Making the Weaver suitable for boats meant there had to be locks put in so it was deep enough, as shown there. Derbyshire limestone and Halton quarry in North Wales near Holywell, with the element calcium in the limestone, which is calcium carbonate. Now, sulfuric acid was more of a challenge because it has to be made, and it was made locally. There were vitriol sulfuric acid factories in Liverpool, there were some in St Helens, there were some on Spike Island. It has to be made, and it used sulfur from Sicily very often, from the volcanic slopes of Mount Etna. So that had come on a long journey. And just to bring it back to the local, those are mock vitriol ovens on Spike Island. There's an acid factory, vitriol works there. When the railways came, they became useful. The opening of the Ettal-Flader Bridge made carrying the goods to buyers via Liverpool and London far easier. The value of the soap and the other goods carried out of Halton was absolutely huge, and it's perhaps lovely to think of the lives saved around the world from having access to the good soap that was made here. We've talked in part 1 about the crests of the area, how those celebrate the products, the transport, the industry, and the locality. So, how does Halton lead the world in transport today? The Mersey Gateway Bridge is a pioneering structure. In the teacher's pack, there's links to 2 short videos about its construction. They include some of the methods used, like the breathtaking mobile scaffolding structure. The Mersey Gateway Bridge was the first place where one had been employed in the world that was able to curve and tilt the road surface. So as you join the road from the Runcorn side, you might notice the camber, the tilt of the surface. It's on a curve, and that was done thanks to this surface. And you can see how this was done. There's an animation of it on one of the short videos. And the second short video that's linked is one that shows, months of the work making the bridge down to just 2 minutes of viewing. And it's worth also considering for the future the work in the Liverpool City region and in the Heath Business Park on hydrogen as a clean future fuel for vehicles. If we can use renewable electricity to make the hydrogen, then that's a fuel that's not going to add to climate change in the future. So a lot to think about possibly there for your class.